Hello Indie Game fan, other than Vampire Survivor style bullet heaven roguelites, the action roguelite has been relatively quiet in 2021 and 2022, but business is starting to pick up with an assortment of fantastic titles, beginning with OTXO, an action-packed title that sure looks like Hotline Miami crossed with Hitman, having a really cool look at bloody action and looks awesome. A beautiful looking hand-drawn roguelite platformer is Spiritfall, one where you're granted the power of divine spirits to aid you as you battle your way through the world. This has inspiration from platform fighters like Smash Brothers, which feeds directly into the combat, where I'm curious as to how this would translate into the boss fights. It does look absolutely gorgeous, although I would like to know more about the lore and backstory, but definitely put it on your watch list since it should release in early 2023. One of the slickest looking entries on the list is Ending B.I.O.T.A, a game that has an excellent pixel art style that I would compare to Hyper Light Drifter, but instead has more elements of the mystical in this. You're attempting to set your tribe free by ending B.I.O.T.A, being able to take on various curses which manifest by mutating your body, having some great looking action as well. I was pretty excited to make this video since I have a whole bunch of titles never before seen on this channel, one of which is Furcifer's Fungeon, a dungeon crawling action roguelite where a duck ranks among the playable characters, having an awesome pixel art look that really pops. It does appear to have some form of auto-scrolling, but is otherwise a fairly standard action roguelite, but where they have strange and funny descriptions for their loot, including the largest stick looking pretty good. The bulk of the Vampire Survivors clones have been released this year, but developers are continuing to innovate in this space, with B.I.O.T.A Swarm being one such example, adding the swarms of enemies to a roguelite platformer and looks intense as well.
Wondrous Academy of Greifenstein, a fateful incident occurred. You brave students, you are now our last hope.
Spells and Secrets is essentially Harry Potter roguelite, where you play as a student in a wizarding school that has suddenly become overrun with magical creatures.
Use your Griffin artifact because it protects you and brings you back to safety.
The ability to use the variety of magical spells and attacks looks neat, with meta progression systems, including having to rescue your fellow classmates, looking like a decent entry. Another promising top-down entry is Below the Stone, one that is all about dwarves and their quest to dig to the deepest of depths, having a decent pixel art look as well. Most interestingly, this incorporates mining into the gameplay, where digging out the walls of the level to get resources is a central feature, along with the classic action. There does appear to be quite a number of tools and equipment that you can use, as well as a crafting system, where it's been on my watchlist for quite a while, and did also sign with Apogee Entertainment recently, so perhaps that gives them more freedom to work on this full time. If you thought that Rogue Soulstone looked familiar, that is because this is from the same developer of the tremendously popular Bullet Heaven title Soulstone Survivors, who have a sneaking suspicion that they wanted to make this game first, and then pivoted into the Bullet Heaven version, but good for them since they managed to capture the essence of the subgenre and made a fantastic game that must be doing very well for them financially. I don't know what this means for the regular rogue-lite version that is supposed to release in 2023, where maybe they might just be able to bring more attention to the regular rogue-lite next year. I've asked developers to share their roguelites with me on Twitter, and one title that did get my attention is Lake of Creatures. This is another pixel art title but with a fishing theme, who I love fishing in games, so I'm interested to see how this is used in a roguelite. You're trying to hunt down a mythical lake monster, having to both catch fish to sell, as well as to fire your gun at oncoming enemies, being a rather unique crossover in theme. A very classic looking action roguelite is Blackout Protocol, where you delve into a research facility which has been overrun with all sorts of horrors, having a little bit of an SCP vibe with some fantastic looking art and action. Interestingly, this does have co-op support for up to 3 players, which is not that common in this space, where it comes to us from the developer of the awesome tactics title Lost Eidolons, so it is quite a departure from their previous work. A fun-looking roguelite platformer is Mr. Sun's Hatbox, where you have to retrieve your stolen hat in what is supposed to be a slapstick adventure. I think that humour and great writing go a long way in games, which, combined with the cutesy look, certainly makes this a title of interest. It also comes to us from developer Kenny Sun, who is best known for puzzle and puzzle platformer titles like Yankai's Triangle and Circa Infinity, so the pedigree certainly is there for this to be great. We're getting more 3D action roguelites as the tech becomes more accessible, with Morbid Metal being a title of interest, one that has an emphasis on fast-paced hack-and-slash action. From the title, your character and all enemies are some form of robots of various designs. We are attempting to uncover the secrets of this deadly new world. The unique aspect here is they are able to choose up to 4 characters to play as, being able to shapeshift and transform between them within a single run, being another title to keep an eye on.
宇宙は危機に瀕している。巨大な悪が今ある全ての惑星の崩壊を引き起こしている。全ての命の崩壊。危険、狂気、最後の決戦の時が来た。ツインスティックシューターアドベンチャーゲームで未来を救うことができるのは勇敢な戦士のグループだけだ。インディーゲームアクションの力。
Wanna get weird? If the opening seconds of this trailer setting up the story didn't give you the idea, the Cabbage Effect looks bat insane, and at its core it's a twin-stick roguelite with a very interesting graphical style, shifting from voxels to pixel art to PS1 and then PS2 era polygons to flat, hand-drawn art and so much more. Very cleverly, they got Japanese voiceover for this trailer, but it is from a 2-person team from Brazil, but I do love how weird it is and showcases how innovative indie game developers can be, so fingers crossed this is mechanically great as well.
進化、パワー、過去、未来、狂気、情熱、メタル、光、そして肉体。忍者ガレージプレゼンツザ・キャベッジエフェクト、価値ある冒険近日公開。
Another title that I have to mention is Titan Shell, an awesome looking pixel art roguelite that self-describes as a twin-stick platformer, so I'm assuming that means more of a focus on the run and gun action. I like the skill used here, where you can either choose to pilot your Titan Shell or to forge ahead on foot, with some slick looking bosses and intense combat arenas as well. Notably, Hollow Knight lore master Mossbag is on the development team for this game, marking another YouTuber who is dabbling in making games, which I'm always happy to see. Ants took my eyeball. First got my attention during the most recent Steam Next Festival, where this pixel art roguelike platformer looks awesome, with the premise spelled out by the title of the game. You're either a miniature human or the bugs in this world are huge and are descending into an ever-changing anthill to accomplish your mission. It does remind me of something like Fungeon, where all the elements such as meta progression are present as well, being a high potential title. special mention goes to Core Breaker, another title that I picked up on via Twitter, where this excellent pixel art title looks awesome, reminding me a little bit of Scourgebringer. A fantastic, if slightly morbid title is AK-xolotl, where you play as such a creature wielding an AK, having to hunt, cook and eat your enemies, which I certainly was not expecting. However, the pixel art during gameplay is functional, where the character portraits in menus and of the merchants look particularly great. Interestingly, you're able to grow baby axolotls until they are fully formed and then become playable, which is where the meta progression portion comes in, where of course, you are what you eat as well, so the different enemies that you hunt and eat will result in different power-ups. One of the awesome long-in-development roguelite platformers is Elsie, one where you can get a bunch of hovering drones to help in your attacks, adding a bullet heaven element without being a Vampire Survivors-like.
Let's try that again.
In fact, it does remind me of Mega Man, or more specifically, 30XX, where it does look fantastic as well. The latest news here is that they have signed with Playtonic and Gerard the Completionist as a publisher, again showcasing the crossover between YouTubers and development, which is always awesome to see. Having seen as many roguelites that I have over the years, I'm always on the lookout for games which do interesting things, one of which of course is Beyond the Long Night, where it is not so much a platformer since you're flying around on balloons, having more shoot-'em-up inspired gameplay. You're exploring an area known as the Dark Mountain, having to outrun a deadly storm and to reach the overworld above this subterranean kingdom. Where the balloons do look kinda fun, and in typical roguelite fashion, upgrades in this game do stack and can result in overpowered combinations. A very special mention goes to Lone Ruin, since it comes to us from developer Cuddle Monster Games, who made the excellent arena action platformer Hell is Other Demons, now turning their attention to the more traditional top-down action roguelite. It is an interesting look, mixing 2D pixel art sprites with 3D environments, where they have certainly committed to a colour scheme which you can see quite clearly here. The best part is that this has a date penciled in for next month, which I'm fairly certain that they will meet, kicking us off for the year with a bang. Inkbound got on my radar since this is the next title from the developer of Monster Train, which I dearly adore, where they've shifted from a deck builder to a co-op roguelite action RPG. Where it does concern me that they've placed an emphasis on online in their description, but hopefully it'll be equally as viable in single player.
We're looking for hands-on management-type industry rock stars, hungry to disrupt the dominant paradigms of intra-office upward mobility. Are you a team player? Ready to join our success-oriented thought leaders in open collaboration?
Developer Free Lives is one of the most versatile developers out there, making games in all sorts of genres, where amazingly, all of the games have been great, ranging from Broforce to the upcoming Angerfoot, where Stick It to the Stickman is a roguelite brawler that looks good as well. If you're an older millennial like me, I'm sure that this would remind you of those Stickman flash animations and games in a very nostalgic kind of way, but have given it a 2.5D look and some fantastic looking combos.
Level positions from now throughout the universe in perpetuity until your very last breath. Stick it to the man.
I covered Oblivion Override not too long ago and was very impressed with the animations and visuals where you play as a combat robot fighting your way through an enemy base. Robot characters do have an advantage in games like this, since you can swap out parts for maximum customization, where the focus is on melee combat, which does look super slick. Not shown in this trailer, but on their Steam store page is a glimpse at the progression system with a DNA Helix-like UI for perks, as well as some sort of skill tree, which would mean that it has a compelling gameplay loop. It does have some gorgeous hand-drawn art, especially in the backgrounds and environments, which, combined with the great animations, pushes this way up on my watch list. A title that does look fairly generic but is underrated is Sworcery, of course combining sword and sorcery, where our hero wields different spellbound blades to defeat an otherworldly evil. Yes, that does sound very generic and I'm not denying that it is, but the gameplay looks fluid with great animations. You might also be interested to know that this team comprises of some developers who worked on God of War, deciding to strike out on their own, where it did have a decently successful Kickstarter campaign and sure looks like it has promise. The developers of Curse of the Dead Gods are back with Raven's Watch, where we just get a very brief glimpse of gameplay, but it looks great. We can watch this video for more upcoming games of 2023.